what is the quality of our words? A theologian by the name of Bob Utley, who was born in 1947, he said this, and I quote, "The tongue can be a great blessing when controlled and energized by God, but a terrible, destructive force in the hands of the evil one." End quote. In James chapter 2, James exhorted the church to examine the quality of their faith. He taught that true faith, that genuine faith, living faith, produces good works. He taught that living faith have a positive impact on our obedience towards God and a positive impact on how we treat one another. In other words, saving faith produces good works. But that is general. That is general. When James speaks of good works in chapter 2, he's making a generalization. But in chapter 3, he is being specific with that good works. And the specific good works that he's addressing here in chapter 3 is our speech, is our communication towards one another. And he addresses the magnitude of the problem with our tongue, with our speech, with our communication. And he uses several metaphors to convey his message. He uses several analogies to make his point. He uses a horse bit controlling the horse. He uses a rudder controlling a ship. He uses fire burning down a forest. He uses beasts and birds and reptiles and creatures of the sea. He uses fresh water and bitter water and salt water. He uses fig trees, olive trees, and grapevine. All of these he used to describe what our tongue is capable of. What it's capable of. And James start with those who has the greatest influence with their tongue, the teachers. My brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment. James starts off discouraging many people from becoming teachers. In the New Testament, in the early church, teachers played a very important and prominent role. According to Paul in 1 Corinthians 12:28, Paul says, "And God has appointed these in the church. First, apostles. Second, prophets. Third, teachers." Also in Ephesians 4:11, Paul also says, "He himself gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers." So as James is writing this letter, there are many people in the church who desire to be teachers. And because of this role, they desire to become teachers because the role of a teacher comes with a certain level of authority. It comes with a certain level of prestige. And because of that, many unqualified teachers has crept in the church. They brought many theological issues, many doctrinal issues into the church. Hence the discouragement, let not many become teachers. James gives the reason for his discouragement. He said, "We shall receive a stricter judgment." We. Notice James said we. He included himself. Because James understood that he will be held accountable with all other teachers. Anytime we teach, anytime we attempt to communicate the word of God, we should keep in mind the serious fact that we will all stand before God to give an account. I come smiling, but really I come with fear and trembling every time I preach. Why a stricter judgment? Because as a teacher, we have the opportunity to affect other people. We have more opportunity to influence others. And the primary instrument of influence for the teacher is the tongue. That's the primary instrument. As a teacher, we can either lead others astray or we can lead them towards Christ and sanctification. As a teacher, we can lead them to false ideologies or we can lead them to sound doctrine. With the tongue, we can lead people to have a proper theology, a biblical theology, or we can do as Paul says, lead them to destructive heresies. As a teacher, our condemnation grows the more we lead others astray. Our condemnation grows if we teach incorrectly. So I exhort you with James, do not teach if you're not called to teach. Do not teach if you're not gifted to teach. Do not teach if you don't have the discipline to study the scriptures. Do not teach if you do not know how to handle the scriptures. Do not teach if your lifestyle is not consistent with the scriptures. Let not many of you become teachers. We should strive to be or to have the same testimony as the Apostle Paul when he says in Acts 20, 26 and 27, he says, therefore I testify to you this day that I am innocent of the blood of all men. He said, I'm innocent of the blood of all men. Why, Paul? Why are you innocent? He says, for I have not shunned to declare to you the whole counsel of God. I didn't pick and choose. I taught you the whole counsel of God. That's a teaching tongue.